She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
There are plenty of horror movies that have kept us awake long into the night. We ranked the top 100 that the genre has to offer over at IGN.com. But this video is all about the true masterpieces. From shambling zombies and killer sharks to knife-wielding killers and creatures from outer space, here are the 10 best horror films ever made.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
In 1968, director George Romero took a frightening idea and created a terrifying new genre of horror, the zombie apocalypse film. With this one movie, Romero was able to tap into everything we're afraid of: death, desecration of the flesh, cannibalism, brainwashing, disease, and hopelessness. There's also a stinging underlying social message about racism, media, and paranoia, where viewers got to learn that they could be just as dangerous and cruel as the mindless hordes of undead they were hiding from.
Legend has it that it was written by the Dark Ones, Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
Sam Raimi gathered everything he did with the original, incredibly low-budget Evil Dead and took every single aspect of it to the next level with its sequel. Evil Dead 2 is stupidly gory, genuinely scary, and consistently funny. For every scene that's drenched in blood, there's a surreal moment of biting satire. On top of that, it solidified Ash Williams as a true icon of the genre. Using a serial killer cannibal with a doctorate to help catch another serial killer is as bare bones as you can get with this Best Picture winner. But Silence of the Lambs is much more than that. It is the scariest movie ever made, built around psychology and deduction, with both used as crime-solving tools and murder weapons. Jodie Foster is also exceptional as FBI agent Clarice Starling. On the trail of Buffalo, it puts the lotion in the basket bill.
Whatever ransom you're asking for, they'll pay it.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Plus, it gave us one of the screen's all-time iconic villains, and Anthony Hopkins the role of his career.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
The first blockbuster ever and the scariest movie Spielberg's ever made, Jaws is equal parts monster movie and character piece. The late Roy Scheider gives a career-defining performance as Chief Brody, the local sheriff with a fear of water who's put in charge of taking down the murder fish. Jaws is made out of the type of movie magic that earns it the praise of words like perfect and instant classic. Alien movies are generally thought of as science fiction, but Alien is as much a horror film as a sci-fi one. With a small cast hunted by a lone, terrifying creature, Alien is far removed from the Star Wars and Star Treks of Hollywood. Artist H.R. Giger designed a world full of twisted tubes, cold hallways, and pervasive darkness. Before Alien, pop culture never warned us how dark, dirty, and scary the cold depths of space were.
Isn't it amazing, Henry, that lying here within this skull is an artificially developed human brain?
Bride of Frankenstein is the apex of the universal cycle of classic monster pictures in terms of quality. Rather than simply regurgitating a cheap variation on the first Frankenstein, director James Whale opted to flesh out the story and characters of the original. Boris Karloff, in his second turn as the monster, granted his most famous creation the gifts of speech, friendship, and even love.
She's alive! Alive!
Halloween is the film that truly defined the slasher subgenre of horror, inspiring a million sequels, imitations, and homages. Take an instantly identifiable holiday, add in a chillingly silent, unstoppable mass killer, and a feisty, resourceful heroine, and you have Halloween. And of course, all the films that came after it. But John Carpenter brought a sense of tension and suspense few others could match in a slasher film, as we watched Michael Myers stalk Laurie Strode from afar before going on his inevitable killing spree. Plus, Carpenter's score is the stuff nightmares are made of. Psycho is both one of the greatest thrillers of all time and one of the greatest entries in Alfred Hitchcock's legendary resume. A true master of suspense and tension, Hitchcock crafted a memorable horror experience with a limited cast and even more limited budget. Like so many great horror movies, Psycho's scares far exceed its limited scale. It's a testament to Hitchcock's skill as a director that Psycho remains a tense and nerve-wracking experience nearly 60 years after its release.
Do you go out with friends?
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
The Exorcist's premise, a little girl possessed by a demon, is scary enough as words on paper, but director William Friedkin does a remarkable job of treating the insanity of it all as if it were really happening next door to us. The scares come from a place based in faith, where heaven and hell are as real as your beliefs in them care to be. Without a doubt, The Exorcist is the best horror movie about the consequences of belief ever made.
Damien!
Amen.
Stanley Kubrick took one of Stephen King's most popular novels and adapted it into a film that defines horror. This haunting and unsettling chronicle of a family man's psychological breakdown allowed Jack Nicholson to deliver one of his finest roles.
Stay away from me! Wendy! Stay away! Darling, light of my life.
Deadly hedge mazes, elevators full of blood, and the terrifying Room 237 are only some of the terrors that await viewers. Simply put, The Shining is the best horror film ever made.
Here's Johnny!
There is an explanation for this, you know.
Those are our choices for the very best that horror has to offer, but what are some of your favorites? And if you like this video, be sure to check out our picks for the scariest video games ever made.